Every morning you wake up, you set something in motion. Most people don't realize it, but the way you start your day writes the script for everything that follows. If you start with chaos, you get chaos. If you start with drift, you get a day spent catching up. But if you start with intention, with a few small disciplines, you build momentum that compounds by nightfall and eventually explodes into a different life altogether. I used to believe that the hours between sunrise and breakfast didn't matter much, that success came down to luck, or maybe just working hard from 9 to 5. But I was wrong. I discovered slowly at first, then all at once, that the first hour is the lever that lifts your whole day. And when you change what you do in that hour, you start a chain reaction that can lift your whole life. Let me ask you, what is the real cost of the way you start your day? How many mornings have you begun in a fog, hitting snooze, scrolling through other people's lives, grabbing whatever comes first, running behind, and calling it normal? The cost is subtle, but it's enormous. It's the opportunity you never see, the energy you never generate, the confidence you never build. I learned this the hard way. The price of a sloppy morning is a scattered life. And a man who can't master his sunrise will spend his days chasing everyone else's sunset. This isn't about perfection. It's not about some grand gesture at 5 a.m. It's about setting a different tone every single morning. Your life doesn't explode because of one big moment. It explodes because you stack small, unseen disciplines on top of each other until the day comes when the world finally sees what you built in silence. Most people want the fireworks, they want the explosion, but they ignore the fuse. And the fuse is always lit in the morning. Emotionally, I want you to feel this. Restlessness is the clue that you're ready for more. If you're waking up tired of your old routines, tired of your results, tired of wondering why nothing changes, let that restlessness wake you up, not just to the day, but to a new standard. The man who keeps doing the same thing every morning, hoping for a breakthrough, is like a gardener watering weeds and expecting roses. The results you're getting are the results your morning delivers. The question is, are you ready to pay a new price for a new outcome? Are you ready to rewrite the script before the world has a chance to write it for you? Philosophically, I believe this with every fiber of my being. The first hour is the storyteller of your entire life. If you neglect it, you give away the pen. If you master it, you start writing a story worth telling. So let's get practical. Let's talk about the law behind explosive change, the law that turns small morning shifts into seismic life results. Because if you change what you do every morning, your life doesn't just improve, it explodes. And it all starts with a simple decision: to design your morning before your day begins. Let's talk about that law. There's a principle I've watched transform men and women from wanderers to builders, from dreamers to achievers. I call it the law of the morning multiplier. It's simple, but it's not easy. Small disciplines practiced in the first hour of the day compound into massive results, often beyond what you can even imagine when you begin. The world tells us that change is about dramatic gestures, sudden overhauls, and big sacrifices. But the reality is your future is being shaped by a handful of small, repeatable acts, most of them invisible to anyone but you. And nowhere is that law more potent than in the morning. Think of it like this. Your morning is the soil. If you plant nothing but chaos and reaction, don't be surprised when weeds take over your whole garden. But if you plant clarity, focus, and positive energy, you set off a geometric chain reaction. Each small discipline is like a seed reading a page of wisdom, writing down your top 3 priorities, stretching your body, speaking gratitude out loud, or reflecting in silence. Done once, it's a spark. Done daily, it's a fuse. And when you practice them together, day after day, the effect isn't linear, it's exponential. The drift in life is natural. If you do nothing, if you let the world dictate your rhythm, you'll always fall back into old patterns. But the man who designs his morning, who gets up with a plan, who puts first things first, creates a pattern that multiplies results in every area: income, relationships, energy, and self-respect. It's not a secret. It's a law, just like gravity. Ignore it, and you'll fall. Use it, and you'll rise. Let's make this practical. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You need to make the smallest possible change to your morning and let that new discipline compound. A 5-minute win at sunrise beats an hour of chaos at noon. The trick is to make the change so small you can't fail and so consistent you can't miss. I've watched people who thought they were stuck for good change their whole trajectory not by moving mountains, but by moving their morning. Contrast is key here. Drift is default, but design is destiny. Most people are running on yesterday's patterns, letting the noise of the world set their first thought. But when you step in and choose, when you decide what gets your attention first, what gets your energy, what gets your best you, multiply your results by design, not by accident. Your life explodes not in a single moment, but by 1,000 silent sparks struck before breakfast every day. But let's clear up what this law is not. It's not about a perfect 5 a.m. club. It's not about making every morning a battle. It's about rhythm over intensity, design over drift. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become the man who makes a new, better decision when the world is quiet. That's how you change the rest of your day and soon your entire life. So before we go further, let's bust a few myths about mornings and change. Because most people never get started, not because the law isn't real, but because they're intimidated by the wrong ideas. Let's knock down those walls and open the door to transformation you can actually live. Let's move into the myths that keep men stuck and the truths that set you free. Let's clear away the fog of morning myths that keep most people stuck on the sidelines, waiting for the perfect motivation or the perfect schedule to arrive. First, let's talk about that all too common belief. If I'm not a 5 a.m. person, I'll never make it. You've heard it before. Every story about the world's most successful seems to start before dawn, painting a picture that if you aren't rising with the birds, you're destined to stay average. But let me tell you, success doesn't have a set clock. The hour isn't the miracle. The discipline is. I've known men who rise at 4 and achieve nothing, and others who start at 7, but begin with such clear, focused intention that their day moves mountains. The law is about rhythm, not the alarm. Consistency, not extremity. Here's another myth. If I want my life to explode, I need to change everything at once. The truth? Most people fail not because they lack ambition, but because they overwhelm themselves with radical overhauls that last a day and disappear by next week. Discipline is like planting a trino. One expects fruit the first morning. It's the daily tending, the small waterings, the attention to simple habits that bring the harvest. Your life explodes because of the quiet fuse, not the sudden blast. When you change a morning habit, it might feel like nothing for a week or two. But give it a month and suddenly your results seem to magically accelerate. That's the compounding effect of principle. Myth number 3. I have to be perfect or it won't work. This one holds more people back than fear itself. You miss a morning, you slip back into old patterns, and you're tempted to quit. But here's the truth. Consistency wins over perfection every single time. If you fall, you stand up the next day and do it again. Progress doesn't come from never missing. It comes from refusing to let a missed day turn into a missed week, a missed month, or a missed year. And perhaps the most dangerous myth of all. Real change is about willpower. No, it's about systems. Willpower fades, but the system you design, the tiny rituals you practice will carry you through sleepy mornings and stressful seasons. That's why changing what you do every morning isn't about motivation. It's about building a scaffold of small and breakable routines. And when the system is simple enough, even your tired self can't help but succeed. So, release the pressure to be someone else. Don't wait for a magical moment or a tidal wave of motivation. Morning change is not magic, but it will feel like it once you taste the results. It's about choosing a handful of simple, principle-based habits and repeating them until the compound effect kicks in and your life seemingly overnight explodes. Now let me tell you how this worked in my own life. Because the law isn't just theory, I lived it. I remember the exact moment when a small morning change sparked the kind of results I used to dream about. Let me share that story so you can see how the fuse gets lit and how quickly momentum takes hold. Then we'll talk about how to do the same in your world, starting tomorrow. Let me take you back to a season in my own life when I was desperate for change, when my results were stale, my energy was flat, and I felt like every day was just a rerun of the one before. I had ambition, but my mornings were a mess. I'd wake up with no rhythm, no purpose, no structure, just reaction. I'd hit snooze, grab whatever breakfast was closest, maybe check the news or some bills, and then stumble into my day already behind. I told myself I was busy, but I was really just drifting. I was waiting for life to change, hoping something big would happen and shake me awake. Then one night, after another day that ended with the same quiet frustration, I made a decision. I decided I would change just one thing in my morning no heroics, no schedule overhaul. I would wake up 15 minutes earlier than usual, and for those 15 minutes, I would read something that built my philosophy. No phone, no noise, just a book and a notepad. It felt almost embarrassingly small, but it was doable. I set out a chair, put the book on the table, and told myself, tomorrow, I begin. The first morning felt awkward. The old routines pulled at me, check this, rush that, think about bills. But I kept my promise. I sat down, opened the book, and just read. And as I did, something in me shifted. The quiet was new, but it was good. I wrote down a single idea that struck me and carried it with me all day. Suddenly, the chaos felt less urgent. I wasn't reacting, I was leading, even in small ways. After a week, I realized I'd started looking forward to those 15 minutes. I started thinking bigger. My goals sharpened. My mood lifted. I saw new connections, made better decisions, and approached problems with fresh eyes. It was like a fuse had been lit. After a month, I extended the time, added a stretch routine, and started jotting down my 3 priorities before breakfast. The explosion didn't happen in one day. It was the daily spark, the silent momentum that built up until it burst into visible results. New opportunities, more energy, more confidence, better conversations, and ultimately, a new trajectory for my work and my wealth. People around me started to notice a change, but they couldn't see what I was doing. That's the secret. The world applauds the explosion, but they never see the fuse. And the fuse is always lit in the dark, quiet hours of the morning by a man willing to do something different before anyone else wakes up. If you feel stuck, like I did, the answer isn't to wish for motivation or a lucky break. It's to start a new morning revolution on small, principle-driven change that you do every day, no matter what. Over time, you'll discover what I did. Mornings aren't magic, but the results they create will make you believe in miracles. So, what does an explosive morning really look like in practice? Let's get specific. I'll walk you through the 5 morning changes that detonate growth, so you can begin your own quiet revolution starting tomorrow. Let's make it practical so there's no guesswork, just results. Let's turn principle into practice. If you want your life to explode with new results, don't chase motivation, install disciplines. Here are 5 specific morning changes that, when repeated, will multiply your energy, clarity, and productivity. Don't try to master them all at once. Start with 1 or 2 and let the compounding effect take over. Remember, it's not the size of the change. It's the consistency. 1. Decide before sunrise. Every day is won or lost the night before. If you roll out of bed and wonder what to do first, you're already playing catch-up. Before you go to sleep, write down one decision for the next morning. They say priority, a task, a principle to review. Set out your book, your journal, your shoes, whatever triggers your new habit. When you decide before sunrise, you give yourself a head start, and your mind wakes up with purpose, not panic. 2. Feed the mind, not the noise. The first thing you put in your mind in the morning sets the tone for the day. Most people grab their phone, scroll through chaos, and let the world tell them what matters. Not anymore. Before the world wakes up, feed your mind something worthy. A page from a classic, a Jim Rohn principle, a line of wisdom you can chew on. Write it down, reflect on it, and carry it into every room you enter. You're building your philosophy, and that's the foundation for every success that follows. 3. Move your body to move your destiny. Nothing shifts your emotional state faster than motion. Even if it's 5-minute stretch, walk, do a handful of push-ups, movement tells your mind, I'm in command. It shakes off the sleep, stirs up your energy, and creates momentum. Remember, the body fuels the mind. Every disciplined act trains you for the next challenge, inside and out. 4. Name 3 priorities before the world wakes up. Clarity beats chaos every time. Before you check a single message or look at your schedule, write down your 3 most important tasks for the day. Don't make a laundry list focus on what moves the needle. If you lead your day won't run you. And if you do this before breakfast, you'll notice your confidence rising because you're living on the offense, not the defense. 5. Practice a small win before breakfast. Don't wait for a grand achievement to feel progress. Build your momentum by winning early. Maybe it's making your bed, writing 1 page, reading 5 minutes, or sending 1 courageous email. The win doesn't have to be big, it has to be intentional. Success is a habit, and the habit starts before the world demands your attention. Stack enough small wins, and you'll find the explosion was just a natural result of steady practice. Put these together, and you have a morning routine built on principle, not hype. Over time, these small, consistent changes become the infrastructure for extraordinary results. Your energy will multiply, your focus will sharpen, and people around you will start to wonder what you changed, but you'll know the secret. The explosion was built brick by brick, 1 disciplined morning at a time. Ready to move from theory to transformation? Let's set up your 30-day Challenger experiment in explosive growth. The only thing between you and the life you want is a new morning, repeated until it becomes who you are. Let's make this real. Let's commit together and track the results that are about to multiply in your world. Now, let's make this more than a lesson. Let's make it your new code. Here's your invitation. For the next 30 days, commit to these 5 morning changes. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. Just imagine 30 mornings, each one beginning with a decision, a dose of wisdom, a few minutes of movement, 3 priorities, and 1 small win. No matter how you feel, no matter how busy the day ahead looks, you start with these disciplines before anything else. Here's how you put it into action. Tonight, write out tomorrow's decision and set your materials in place: your book, your journal, your workout gear. When you wake up, feed your mind before you check your phone. Move your body before the day tries to tie you to your chair. Write down your top 3 tasks before breakfast. Do 1 small act you can call a win, something you can look back on before noon and say, I'm moving forward. Track your results in a journal. Don't just record what you did, but how you felt. Write down moments when you felt more focused, more prepared, more confident, or even more stretched. Review at the end of each week, see what's exploded. Maybe your energy, maybe your peace of mind, maybe a door opened, a relationship deepened, or a new opportunity appeared. Maybe you'll notice you're showing up differently everywhere you go. And if you miss a morning, don't throw out the whole plan. Just start again the next day. The compounding power comes from not quitting, not from doing it perfectly. Over 30 days, you'll build a new story about yourself. A story of a man or woman who keeps promises in private, who owns the sunrise, and who turns small disciplines into seismic results. Let this challenge be your line in the sand. Don't just drift into tomorrow, design it before sunrise. There's nothing between you and an exploding life, but the willingness to begin again, to repeat the right actions, and to trust the law that small disciplines practiced daily become extraordinary results. Now, let's close strong, because the final truth is this. You can't light dynamite every morning and expect nothing to move. Change your mornings, and you change the story of your whole life. Let's make it official, with a charge you can carry into every sunrise from this day forward. Let me leave you with this truth. You cannot stay the same if you change what you do every morning. Light dynamite beneath your old routine, and it's impossible for your life to remain unchanged. The fuse you light in the quiet hours will send shockwaves into your afternoons, your relationships, your wealth, and your self-respect. Every small, repeated morning discipline is like another stick of dynamite placed beneath the old limitations, the stale results, the tired self-talk you've lived with for too long. The world tells you to wait for the big break, the magical motivation, or the perfect timing. But the men and women whose lives explode with new growth are those who make a decision at sunrise, not at the last minute. They write the script before the day tries to write it for them. You don't have to overhaul your entire existence overnight. You just have to start stacking the right habits before the rest of the world wakes up. So here's your call to action. If you're ready to see what happens when your morning changes, drop this in the comments. My new life starts with my new morning. Let it be your commitment to yourself, your line in the sand. Because the truth is, the universe rewards the man who designs his life before breakfast, who moves his body before the world gets noisy, who feeds his mind before others can poison it with chaos. You will become a magnet for new opportunities, better energy, deeper relationships, and a kind of confidence that can't be faked. Don't drift into another week of old routines. Design the next 30 days with intention and watch what happens. You can't control everything, but you can always control how you begin your day. And when you do, you'll discover that your whole life starts to move in ways you never thought possible. So let's meet at sunrise. That's where the new story begins. Your new life is waiting on the other side of a new morning. Start now.